Well, friends, today we're going to discover the Texas Boat 6 and 10, a boat measuring 6 meters long and 2.50 meters wide, making it perfectly trailerable. We'll now take a walk on board to explore the layout. But as always, remember to like this video, comment with your thoughts. And above all, remember to like the Expert Marine page, dealer for the shipyard in Greece, because it's thanks to them that we're making this video. Let's check it out together. At the stern, there are 2 swim platforms added to the hull, separate from the engine. In this case, the engine is a 150 horsepower Mercury, which also represents the maximum power that can be installed, while the minimum is 80 horsepower. Let's see how the boarding ladder is located inside the starboard swim platform. The retractable boarding ladder is molded directly into the fiberglass mold, so as not to create any obstacles on the horizontal plane. There are no height differences, as you can see, making it incredibly easy to access the boat when docked. Let's move on to the cockpit. I'll show you this dedicated passageway on the starboard side, complete with a dedicated door, specifically to provide greater protection for less experienced boaters. And notice the step difference in height, which allows access to the cockpit and, more importantly, protects the entire aft saloon from any rear obstructions, thus preventing water from entering the boat. The cockpit is completely free of obstacles in this rear area. As you can see, movement is made much easier because here too the hatch locks are recessed, allowing us to move around the boat in complete safety. I mention the hatch because we can easily lift this central portion and access the enormous compartment where, for example, we can store safety equipment and inspect the fuel tank. And I'd also like to point out the gaskets here, positioned under the hatch to reduce vibrations on deck and thus increase comfort when we're on board underway. Furthermore, the entire cockpit is modular. As you can see, there are these side benches that can easily be folded down to optimize space and thus further facilitate movement on board, but if necessary, they can be easily raised, using the extractable supports, thus further increasing the seating space. Furthermore, there's the option of installing a fixed base with a table, therefore centrally, to create a large rear dinette, a truly delightful convivial area. Furthermore, there's an additional cushion here in the aft section, which conceals a storage compartment, not only for storing items, but also for monitoring the batteries and systems. While the bilge pump is installed centrally here, below the decking, of course, there's no shortage of mooring cleats positioned laterally, while here, we find a convenient handle for added support and thus easier climbing out of the water. Proceeding toward the bow, we find this sliding door, made of aluminum and real glass, which allows us to easily access the cabin interior or provide more privacy. As you can see, we can create 2 perfectly independent spaces, and upon entering, we notice a step to reduce the height difference. To the side, in this setup, we note the presence of a linear sofa, very comfortable for sitting and relaxing, while on the starboard side, there is this sink made inside the fiberglass mold. A little further forward is the helm station, featuring a single seat that can slide forward and backward, further customizing the onboard experience. And most importantly, it can rotate 360 degrees, thus creating a convivial area here, even with guests at the side. Also note the visibility optimized by the large side windows, with a sliding center pane to further optimize air circulation. However, we can easily open them if necessary to properly manage the flow of air inside the cabin. So I take the helm, see that it's easily reachable in front of me. I can position myself as I prefer depending on the distance, thanks to the sliding seat, and I see that I can put my feet on the lower steel step. And look at the visibility, as already mentioned, truly optimal, practically 360 degrees, except for the lateral supports of the cockpit. But you see, I have no problem steering the boat. While the helm station is completely customizable upon request, thanks in part to the customization offered by Expert Marine, which therefore allows each user to choose their preferred configuration. In this layout, we note the tachometer, the analog fuel tank gauge, and all the other information is provided by the Lowrance display installed here above. The on-off switches are arranged on a single level, while the power lever is located on the starboard side, right next to the cabin itself. This optimizes space, yet is easily accessible. There's plenty of storage space below, thanks to this support with side protection, which can also be closed if necessary. Below, there's an inspection hatch for the freshwater tank. A refrigerator can also be installed upon request. This area, below the helm station, is also covered. I'll also show you the headroom because look, the cabin is over 2 meters high, so it can be used in every way, not just for daily outings, but also for 4-person cruises. I'm talking about cruises because here, moving forward inside the cabin, we find a double bed to sleep 2 people, but we can easily add the wooden extensions here to create 2 more berths. So we have a 6-meter boat with 4 beds, within a well-protected cabin, especially with ventilation and light that can be controlled not only through the windows as we've seen, but also thanks to the curtains that surround the entire windshield. Furthermore, beneath the starboard cushion is a compartment that conceals a retractable toilet, in addition to the other storage compartments located beneath the cushions. On the port side is this central section, which is removable, so we can use it not only as a seat, but also as a table for the aft dinette. If necessary, we can reuse the same base to create a small lounge inside with 2 seats, plus the third created here from the helm station. So let's return to the exterior and demonstrate the double gangway. The boat has a symmetrical layout, so we can take advantage of both side passageways. The grab handle installed here towards the stern also comes in handy, but obviously there's also the guardrail for added protection. And speaking of protection, I'll show you this support obtained from the cabin extension, which creates greater protection in this aft area. But if necessary, we can also request the installation of an awning, thus shading the entire aft area. So back towards the bow. Here we notice a step to provide more space inside the cabin, but I can also take advantage of the support installed directly on the T-top. And look, the width of the rail is more than adequate for this category, since the guardrail helps me to provide added protection, but thanks to the double gangway, we can still move 360 degrees around the boat, and therefore reach the bow area. The bow area is completely free of obstacles, thus facilitating movement. In this forward section, a hatch is positioned here to provide greater light and ventilation in the double bed area inside the cabin. Below the front hatch is a very large storage compartment, convenient not only for storing fenders, but also for storing the anchor and chain. Upon request, a winch can be installed here, directly on the deck, to ensure everything is perfectly monitored from the helm station. This means a single person can perform all maneuvers. The shipyard's list of options doesn't include front cushions, but you can contact Expert Marine to request the installation of front upholstery, thus increasing onboard comfort. And speaking of comfort, let me show you the hardtop on which additional cushions can be installed to create a truly luxurious relaxation area with direct exposure to the sun. Finally, the double cleat positioned on the port and starboard sides completes the setup, while the chain roller is located in the center. So dear friends, this is Texas Boat 6 and 10. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and Facebook page. Leave a like and tag people you think might be interested. And as always, for all future videos, see you here on the C Team.